The subject of today, the current, super financial capitalism, in which money dominates everything, was born from the suspension of conversion of dollars and gold, Nixon shock, suddenly announced by U.S. President Nixon on August 15, 1971. Number 1. What is Nixon shock? Excerpt from Wikipedia. The Nixon shock, dollar shock, refers to a significant change in the framework of the world economy due to the suspension of conversion of U.S. dollar bills and gold. 1 ounce equals $35, announced suddenly on August 15, 1971 by President Nixon of the United States. The name of Nixon shock comes from the announcement of this policy shift by then-President Richard Nixon. Until then, dollar was the only currency that could be exchanged for gold, and the international currency system, the Bretton Woods system, has functioned with the dollar as the key currency. What is called shock is that the Bretton Woods system collapsed suddenly by stopping the exchange of dollars and gold due to the sharp decrease in the amount of gold held in the United States. It was not informed in advance, and the sudden announcement was extremely surprising and subsequently had a major impact on the world economy. Prior to the shock, August 15, 1971, the price of 1 ounce of gold, 31.1034768 grams, against the dollar was fixed at $35 in. Compare the gold and dollar prices before and after the Nixon shock. Prior to the Nixon shock, the 15th of August 1971, the price of 1 ounce of gold, 31.1034768 grams, against the dollar was fixed at $35. The price of 1 ounce of gold against the dollar today, the 25th of May 2021, is $1,882.16. Filled up pointing triangle comparing the dollar price against gold before the Nixon shock and now, we can see the following. It can be seen that the dollar price against gold has really only been worth 1.85% in the 50 years from the Nixon shock, August 15, 1971, to today, the 25th of May 2021. In other words, the dollar has lost, depreciated, the value of 98.15% against the gold in the last 50 years. That 98.15% depreciation of the world's key currency, the dollar, naturally made the value of each country's currency even more depreciated. Why has the dollar depreciated by 98.15% against gold in the last 50 years? Due to the suspension of conversion of dollars and gold by Nixon shock, the U.S. Central Bank FRB, Rothschild banks own 100% shares, that monopolizes the money issuance rights, could reprint dollar bills as many times as they like even without gold backing. 1 ounce of gold against dollar before Nixon shock was $35 in, but today's price is $1,882.16. That which means that the price of gold against dollar becomes 53.77 times before the Nixon shock. This gold price surge is not due to increased gold demand, but it was the result of FRB's reprinting of dollar bills 77 times over the last 50 years. Since 1971, there used to be the absolute standard for the money in each country, and it was the gold. The major European nations which had implemented the gold standard, in which the money could be converted into the gold, were stable in the currency, even when they changed from agricultural nations to industrial nations and achieved unprecedented development. French franc, stable for 100 years, from 1810 to 1910. Dutch guilder, stable for 98 years, from 1816 to 1910. Swiss franc, stable for 86 years, from 1850 to 1936. Belgian franc, stable for 82 years, from 1832 to over 1,910 years. Swedish krona, stable for 58 years, from 1873 to 1931. Italian lira, stable for 31 years, from 1883 to 1910. Reference, citation. The Bull of Chinese economist Song Hongbing, Rothschild, History of Currency Stealing and Its Scenarios, May 20, 2009, published by Random House Kodansha, end of number 1.